I guess he was just extra protective over Nas. Pause. Why is y'all so protective over Nas? Nas ain't got shit. It's her. Y'all need to be happy that a dummy found the ninja, picked him up, and tolerated his non-working ass. I don't hear nobody out there. Hold it down. Hold it down. Oh my God. Peanut butter and crack years. This book may just be better than the Corinne Steffens. Super Yed. By February, my long hours at Def Jam were taking their toll on me. Child, one time she was on a train, either going to work or coming home from work, and passed out. I passed out because when I woke up, I was stretched out in the back of an ambulance on my way to the hospital where I was treated for exhaustion. After the fainting spell, Nas insisted that I quit my job. Well, who gonna pay the bills, Nasir? Ain't that a mess? I told you, them ninjas move off of emotion, not reality. And for those of you who be like, ooh, some Virgo didn't hurt Nay. Yes. 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 After the fainting spell, Nas insisted that I quit my job. No more Def Jam, Carm. This is it. That job is not worth it. Not only are you risking your health, but the baby's health too. A part of me knew that my job and the commute were starting to take its toll, but the reality was I couldn't quit. Nas, we need this job, so I can't quit. He sucked his teeth and gave his usual reply, whatever, Carm. It was still too early in my pregnancy to go on maternity leave without a doctor's order. After a few days off, I went back to work. A week later, I passed out on a train again. This time, my doctor agreed I needed a leave of absence. With his note, I could get a paid hiatus. Def Jam wasn't too thrilled. I was the only one in the office who'd been trained on our new software. So I continued to work from home, taking calls in bed for a week or two. The ringing telephone irritated Nas, but it eventually subsided. I was able to rest, and in a few days, I'd recovered some of my usual vibrancy. I think I was working 2 part-time jobs and going to school full-time. Yeah, I'm like that. I know that when I got of a certain age, I wanted to accomplish some things. You feel me? And I knew that I couldn't go to my mother and be like, Mom, could I have a couple of $100 or $100 here, $100 there? I was living at home with my mother, but I was definitely taking care of myself. I wasn't asking her for nothing. I didn't even realize then how fortunate I was to be living in a home where my mother wasn't asking me for rent money. She just allowed me to live there and take care of myself. So anyway, I was working 2 part-time jobs, going to school full-time, and school was wearing me out, y'all. I mean it. And I remember I had just got home from school, and I'm on the bus, right? I had just got home from school, and I was taking a nap, and I slept over or something because I was so tired. I was so exhausted. And I just hopped up, and I knew that I had to go to the Limited down there in PG Mall. I think I was closing. It might have been 4 to 9 or something like that, 4 to 9:30, whatever it was. I was exhausted on the bus. But when I got to work, I was just standing at the desk waiting for whatever my goal was for the day. And, you know, in regards to how much I'm expected to sell that day, because that's what they do when you work in retail. They give you goals. And that's why I'm so goal oriented. It is bananas. Waiting for what my goal was for today, and baby, I just felt so lightheaded. And then before I knew it, I was dropping. Luckily, the girl that was there, the manager that was there with me, was strong enough to grab me and pull me into the back office. I I was grateful to her, but that kind of destroyed some things for me because I started getting less and less hours at the limited because they couldn't trust the fact that that was a one-time occurrence. It's people lined up to work at the limited. Despite how much money she brought in, how are we going to give it to this young lady who we don't know will pass out on the floor? So that kind of broke my heart, but I got another job. Of course, I didn't tell them that, I had the situation at the limited, but, I was disappointed at the fact because in the 90s, the limited was that girl. The best dressed women on TV during that time was Pam and Gina from Martin. And you could get just about basically everything that they wore from the limited. So yeah, I was a bad dressed girl in college. Officially, I did not know what it was. But reading this, I believe that it was exhaustion. Okay, anyway, let's move forward. I was able to rest, and in a few days, I'd recovered some of my usual vibrancy. Nas remained concerned about my health and wouldn't let me out of his sight. Every time I tried to step out of the room, I got a line of questioning from Nas. Where are you going? To the bathroom, do you mind? I said, lumbering off into that direction. As I grew closer to my due date, Nas's debut album was also nearing completion. The studio became my home away from home. Nas took me with him everywhere to photo and video shoots, interviews, and publicity meetings. I already knew a lot about the music industry from working at a record label. Now I got an even less glamorous view of the game from the artist's perspective. Photo shoots could be long and exhausting with the wardrobe changes, hot lights, awkward poses, and last-minute location changes. Nas would generously cancel whatever he had scheduled when I was too tired to go out with him. On those days, he smoked his trees religiously, a sure sign the pregnancy was taking a toll on him as well. In those final months, I became very agitated. I couldn't help it. Pregnancy was all so new to me. I was huge, feeling unsexy and fat, not to mention the mood swings, and I mean horrible ones. I was a total bitch for the most part. Poor Nas. Good for you for acknowledging that, because a lot of people, especially you Virgos, you bitches would lie to the Lord before y'all would admit y'all wrong. Tell me I'm lying. Okay, where's the lie? Okay. By mid-June, I was 2 weeks overdue. Destiny Najee Jones arrived in the world wailing at the top of her lungs. It was June 15th, 1994, when the nurse laid Destiny on my chest. I was in complete awe. Nas and I both cried with joy in those first few minutes of her new life. Then the nurses took Destiny to be cleaned up. Parenthood was very exciting, like a whole new beginning. A few days prior, Nas and I were a couple. Now we were a family. What a difference a day makes. For the week following Destiny's birth, we didn't leave the apartment. A couple of weeks later, we took Destiny to Queensbridge to meet Mrs. Jones for the first time. Mrs. Jones worked a full-time and lacked transportation, and as a result couldn't visit as frequently as she desired. When I came through the door, Mrs. Jones came running over to me and snatched Destiny right out of my arms and started to cry. I had never seen Mrs. Jones so happy. And behind Jabari's weak smile, I could see a huge grin trying to break through. Yeah, 'cause Jabari's an uncle now. We all knew he was happy to be an uncle. Jabari and I didn't get along at all. I guess he was just extra protective over Nas. Pause. Why is y'all so protective over Nas? Nas ain't got shit. It's her. Y'all need to be happy that a dummy found the ninja, picked him up, and tolerated his non-working ass. We all knew he was happy to be an uncle. Jabari and I didn't get along at all. I guess he was just extra protective over Nas. However, that day was a beautiful day in the Jones household. Later that night, Nas was feeling a little frisky. I was truly exhausted and hadn't had my 6-week postpartum checkup when we'd find out if intercourse was safe or not. Girl, you know how them ninjas are. Them daggone Virgos got a press like a 13-year-old with a hard egg. They got a press. I don't care what age they are. They will wear you down. They will wear you down to the point they ain't got to take it. You will give it to them just to shut them the F up. All right, here, nigga, take it. So anyway, she gave it to him. I gave in. He penetrated me, and 1 minute turned into 2. Soon I felt a throbbing pain in my pelvic area. I knew we should have waited. I yelled, as angry with myself as I was with Nas. I took some Tylenol and soaked in the tub for a while. That didn't work. An ice pack between my legs didn't help either. Nas was helpless to relieve my pain. I'm sorry, boo. He kept repeating. You all right? No, I ain't all right. Bastard. I mean, to be quite honest, Carmen, you could have gave him a hand job. I'm just saying. This is all your fault. Don't even think about touching me for at least another 2 weeks. Then we'll just have to improvise, he said with a raised eyebrow at this exciting prospect. Not tonight. I am in too much pain. Try your luck tomorrow. I turned over and eventually fell asleep. The next morning, my body was back to normal and everything was fine. A few weeks later, Illmatic dropped. Before Nas left for tour, life couldn't have been better. In fact, it was great. I had a beautiful daughter. Nas's career was on the rise and I was enjoying motherhood. Before Nas left for tour, life couldn't have been better. In fact, it was great. I had a beautiful daughter. Nas's career was on the rise and I was enjoying motherhood. We decided to take a family trip to the Poconos. Child, girl, they on a trip to the Poconos. This nigga Nas then convinced her, can I take some pictures of you? At least she had enough sense to say, well, can I take some pictures of you? He said, okay. They around there at the Poconos enjoying it. I love the Poconos. But they're around there in the Poconos taking nudie pictures of each other, looking all foolish and awkward. Neither of us knew how to pose in the nude, but we enjoyed ourselves trying. A few days later, we got the pictures back and had a good laugh. We both looked so ridiculous. By then, it was time for Nas to hit the road. Illmatic was in full swing at this point. Over the next 2 weeks, Nas was running around like a chicken with his head cut off, preparing for his first tour.
No.